is the end of week 5. So we're going to max out today. We're going to get really specific and use a squat bar and actually walk the squat out, because I think that's how it's going to be in competition. We're going to aim for a 230 squat after warming up, a 145 bench, and a 270 deadlift to beat last week. Last week my hands nearly failed on 260 deadlift, so 270 might be the first failure, but let's find out. All right, so we've got to get used to 2 things today: squat bar, walking out, and lifting more weight than we've lifted for like a year. Let's hope I don't die. I'm looking bigger though. I'm like 84 now. I've gained so much weight. If you watch my last video, it was a full day of eating 4,000 calories. Bear in mind I have an office job where I sit in a chair most of the time. So the weight gain's pretty easy when I have that much food. Walking around in really tight knee sleeves and singlet and belt, everything's so compacted. It helps, but I mean, it is nice to take this stuff off. It's easy to forget that this is 125 rather than 120 because the bar weighs that extra 5. Definitely feels very different on the squat bar, especially in a low bar position, because the bar's thicker. It's just like more awkward. Each week when I do this session, I notice I've gained like ½ a kilo, and it just keeps getting tighter each week. First rep that might be a little bit of a challenge. One thing I keep forgetting to do on squat is to breathe out as I come up for the rep. Like before the rep, breathe in, breathe out on the way up. I do have a bad habit of holding my breath the whole time. When I did that before, I used to burst the blood vessels in my eyes. I'll put a picture of it now if I can find it, but my whole eyes were bright red from a squat. Just the amount of pressure that builds up in my head. Add 25 kilos to this. Hope we stay injury free, please. I find it quite funny as it gets closer to a comp and becomes more specialized. I have 3 different barbells for each lift. So squat bar for squat, power bar for bench press, and deadlift bar for deadlift. And 3 different pairs of shoes for each lift. So I use Sabos, which are like a tiny heel in them. They're supposed to be deadlift shoes, but I use those for squat. So it's not quite completely flats, but almost. And then for bench, I use the heel shoes. And then for deadlift, I use Notorious lifts, which are just really grippy on the bottom, basically like slippers. I used to use Sabos for deadlift, but if the competition had like a wooden platform or not a very good platform, I would slip. Whereas with the Notorious lifts, you don't. I'm just gonna show you the bottom actually while I'm talking about this. And the bottom, if you can see, has ridges that basically go like this. So yeah, when you're sumoing, obviously pushing out against the floor, it's just nice and grippy. All right, I'm actually a bit worried about this. That's why I'm just chatting shit to try and delay me doing it. 220, 225, and another 5 from the bar. It's 230. Even at competition, always go and just check each side of the bar like this. You'll see me do this in competition. I always do it just to check, because there's misloads happen quite a lot, to be fair. Summon the power to do this. Oh, that went better than expected. I feel like gaining weight really helps on squat. Just having like a slightly bigger belly to push into your thighs. Probably my top end is near to 250 now. Best squat I ever did was 270, so we're still like 40 kilos away from that, but I really hate the feeling of going for a max squat. Kills my entire nervous system, but that is the first successful lift done. 1 out of 2 that I was worried about. Deadlifts at the end, 270. That's the other one I'm a bit worried about. We have a back down set now at 185 for a set of 5. And then we're gonna bench. There's less back down sets today because it's a bit of a deload week, so the top sets and intensity is the same, but we reduce the volume on the back down sets just so I recover a bit for next week. Sometimes I kind of dread coming to the gym, like I'm sat indoors editing or on my PC, on YouTube, something, and I'm just like, I really do not want to go into the gym. But then when I get in here, it's always okay. I would say I don't really love powerlifting, but I do love training. Here's my problem, like I'm pretty good at powerlifting, like I'm one of the best in my weight class in the UK. That said, that's still pretty crap on a worldwide level if you look at the USA and so on. I would love to spend like 6 6 months just combat training and do like a jiu-jitsu competition or a boxing competition or something like that. I would love to do calisthenics only for 6 months. I would love to just do tricking for 6 months. There's all these things I feel like I could be really good at. But unfortunately, I have to pick one, and it's like, what do I do? For now, it's powerlifting. I think as soon as this comp's done, I need to really have a think about what I want to allocate time to, whether I really want to go for a 10 times bodyweight total at 80 kilos, 800 at 80. I really want to be the first in UK to get a 10 times bodyweight total, but there's people that are like a few kilos away now, so it's going to happen anyway, if I do it or not. Maybe I can get that ticked off and then move on to some other athletic things. Just while I'm here, for those that haven't seen a squat bar, this is the difference in length. So that's at both sides. Quite a bit thicker, I don't know if you can tell from the angle there, but they generally use a squat bar in untested comps. When you get to a really high level, these speciality bars can help a lot. With my body weight and the max weights I'm using, it's probably not that different, honestly. Time to bench. I feel like benching 4 times a week is starting to pay off. 145 today, the only lift I'm kind of confident that I'll be able to do. I think at the end of the video today, we're going to compare our physique to week 1. A minimal bit of elbow pain there. So I think I need to do some expand hand bands again. Let's do a few of those now. Normally start with a lighter one. We'll go with a green. These are Iron Mind expand hand bands. They've lasted me a long while. They've not cracked or split or anything yet. If they're on Amazon, I'll put a link to them in the description, but I don't know if they are. Oh, my left is like stronger than my right. That's unexpected. I think with powerlifting, we do so much gripping and squeezing, but nothing to counteract that. If you're not training these at all, just add them in once a week. They don't take long. You can do them in your bedroom. I hope feet on the bench are allowed at this competition like this. Some competitions don't allow it. You want to know what my biggest pet peeve about powerlifting is? It's that people go and do a tiny little competition and they post everywhere that they are like British champion or new national champion. And the way powerlifting works is there's loads of different federations. So I could start a federation and one person lifts in my federation, then they would be the British champion of my federation, but they could lift only the bar. And then they could go around on Instagram going, oh, British champion, so on and so on. Whenever you see that on someone's page, it's normally bullshit. All you need to do is go to Open Powerlifting. That collates the results from all federations. And you can compare by country, all federations, weight class. You can type in that person's name and you'll see they're like rank 10,500 of their gender and weight class in the world. Yet they go around saying that they're the fucking like world champion. I kind of get it. People want to feel proud of themselves and people want praise and feel like they're working hard. But it kind of takes away from the people that are working even harder and are actually the world champions or national champions. Yeah, it just annoys me. And the thing is, there's so many variables. Everyone is a fucking record holder because there's so many categories. I think it should just be standardized weight categories across all feds, standardized equipment across all feds, i.e. just a power bar for all 3 lifts, kind of like what the IPF does. They should just do that in untested anyway. They do all these speciality bars just to inflate the numbers. It's like a circus show. Wow, they can lift so much weight, but it's like, some of it's equipment, some of it's shit judging, but it's an impossible task to standardize it all. This is why I never competed before, really. I just trained myself in my garage and tried to beat my own records all the time. I honestly don't know why I'm competing now, to be honest. I guess just to make things official. I try to always make sure I'm squatting to depth, because yeah, if judges gave me a gift, I really wouldn't like that. I hold high standards for myself, and you should too. Another thing I'm curious about powerlifting when we're talking about tested versus untested, right? Untested probably adds about, let's be conservative and say only like 10% of a total is due to PEDs. It may even be more, honestly, but let's just say it's 10%. And Clarence made this argument once, and it's a good argument. Take the best IPF tested lifters totals. Some of those are way better than the untested people, so it's not like the untested people aren't working hard, trust me. So take like Austin Perkins, recent total. He did 850 kilos at under 75 kilos body weight. Let's say he is natty, and I think he is, just for the record, I'm gonna say he is. So add 10% to that, and he's lifting 935. Do you think it's reasonable for a 75 kilo lifter to total 935? And you can make the argument that, oh, if he was to take PEDs, then he would gain body weight, so he wouldn't be at under 75 anymore. Some PEDs don't add that much body weight. That's gonna be more determined by your calories. Obviously, it's gonna be easier to add body weight if you take PEDs, of course. But you can still stay in a weight class, and you will be stronger in that weight class by, conservatively, let's say 10%. It's hard to say who's actually clean in the IPF, and they pop people every year, so how many people are taking that just don't get caught every year? It's obviously going to be more than the amount they actually catch. So at least with powerlifting, there is an outlet for untested, so then it really is a level playing field, but it also entices people to be reckless and unhealthy. I think if you take too much, the results will actually be detrimental, so there is going to be a sweet spot. It adds another element like diet, genetics, so there's so many elements, isn't there, to what makes someone the champion. It's an interesting discussion. Okay, 145, the heaviest bench I've attempted for a long while. Feeling confident about this. I feel my technique has improved a little bit by really pushing my chest up to the bar more than I used to. I felt like that was a decent pause. It always feels longer when you actually do it compared to when you watch it back. Slowed down a little bit midway, which is weird. Normally my sticking point is just off the chest. The sticker point there was a little bit higher than normal, which might mean I need to work on my triceps a little bit more. This is where, when you start getting more advanced, you need to identify at what point do you fail a lift, therefore what muscles need to get stronger. Then your accessories can be targeted to those weaknesses. Back downs on bench, we don't reduce volume on bench for the deload week because it's quite quick to recover from bench anyway. 3 sets of 3 at 120. I really hope I can hit the deadlift today. All right, we don't have much battery left on our camera, and I cannot be asked to go inside and get a charger, so I'm just gonna keep this rapid and film each rep and turn it off in between. When it gets heavy, if I set it lower in the hand, psychologically I'm like, oh, this is not fully gripped, it's just almost in the fingertips. And then I feel like that's not gonna be as strong, but in reality it actually is. So I just need to trust myself. If I grip it right, it will come. So let's try 270. Potential for the grip to go. I know I'm strong enough to do it with straps. We've got to grip it in competition, so let's give it a go. We've chalked up with actual chalk this time instead of liquid chalk. We did both, liquid, let it dry, and then actual chalk, which normally helps the grip a bit. Now let's see if we have what it takes to get this. This would be kind of a goal competition weight, I guess. I'd like more, but I'd be satisfied if I landed on this. Good, 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 yes. Grip was perfect. I set it low enough in the hand, kind of just trusted it. It feels so unstable when I grab the bar that low in my hands. I'm like, there's no way this is gonna pull off the floor. Then I start pulling and it somehow comes. So for most people, they're probably worried about whether they can actually get it up. All I'm worried about is my grip. So, and as long as I get that right, the weight will come up. So that's my sole focus, is my hands. Anyway, good session. But yeah, what's that total today? It's like 645. We're approaching 700. We could probably squat 250. So that would give us 665. We could definitely bench 150. That would give us 670. We'd have to deadlift 300 to get a 700 total there. So yeah, maybe in 4 weeks we could push the bench up a bit more, 155, 160, then maybe 700's a possibility. We'll see. That is the end of the session. Actually, physique check. The lighting's never good in here, but I did it last time in here, so it should be comparable. I'll put them side by side if I can find the old clip. Here we are so far. Looking a bit more like a powerlifter, I guess. Tonight is going to be steaks. We're going to use this pink Himalayan salt. We're also going to do these in a cast iron skillet because They do come out better like that. I do use it for steaks sometimes. Here we are, it's heavy. So we're gonna cook these with salt, pepper, garlic. And I'm gonna put some butter in the pan on the steaks. For the carbs, I'm gonna have some rice. That's about it. Are we having anything else, Izzy?
Broccoli.
Oh, and we're gonna have some broccoli, some vegetables as well. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time.